Clemson's rally ultimately proved meaningless. It kind of felt like that in the moment, Cart. It was very much a silly face rally. Like no one really took that seriously. It didn't feel like it was going to happen. McNeese holds on 69-67. They were up 31-13 at halftime. I tweeted this out, Cart. This Clemson team, they've prided themselves on toughness, physicality, controlling the offensive boards all year. They got dominated in every category. They had 6 offensive boards in the first half. McNeese had 9. They had 8 points in the paint in the first half. McNeese had 26. There was one other stat. They had 2 stocks. McNeese had 6. They were better in all those toughness and physicality statistics in the first half. What did you see out of this one?
Yeah, this was a good old fashioned McAss whooping, straight up. That's what this was. This was not a fluke. This was not like McNeese getting super because Riley, we talk about a lot of upsets and how they happen, right? And people are always like, "Oh, like did some guy have a generational performance?" And this is not to say that McNeese guys didn't play well and guys didn't have good performances, but like you look to like how 12s beat fives. It's like some guy just banging a bunch of three pointers.
Mm-hmm.
McNeese hit 4 3-point shots in this game. They were 4 for 19. They shot 11 for 22 from the free throw line.
Oh my gosh.
And this game was never in doubt, never truly in doubt. Honestly, I don't like to use this word because it's a cop out, but this was, and I'm gonna get to giving McNeese their credit. This wasn't an embarrassing performance by Clemson. I am sorry. You have two of the better, more physical bigs in the ACC, and you get 1 point from Ian Shefflin. You get 6 points from Victor Lockett and fouls out in 25 minutes. And they get dominated on the glass by McNeese. McNeese had 18 offensive rebounds in this game. They out rebounded them 43-36. They had more assists than them. They had more steals than them. Clemson had 0 blocks. McNeese had 6. Clemson turned the ball over more than McNeese. This was a yeah, I think I saw Kadir Copeland doing a little belt to ass at the end of the game. Literally, Will Wade said, "Let me go ahead and kick my seat back here, Mr. Brownell. Park it on this knee." Spanked them.
Dude,
Spanked those. How do you? Okay, last thing before I throw it back to you, Riley. How in the year 2025, our sweet year of 2025, do you get a max extension and score 13 American basketball points in a half in a
it's a
tournament game that you're favored by 7.5 points? How, Riley? Explain it to me.
It's inexcusable. Like you would have thought maybe he got fat and happy, but the first half looked like Brownell was the one about to go take a new job.
Man.
Like not Will Wade. I think we talked about this either in a group chat or something. Someone said, "Oh, Clemson money lines a go" as soon as like the Wade news broke, and it was the complete opposite. I like couldn't believe like Christian Shoemate is 6'6", 213. Christian Shoemate is shorter than you, Cart.
Yeah.
Like noticeably. If he's listed at 6'6", he's probably like 6'4". And we know you're listed at what, 6'8", 6'9",
Yeah, and
6'7".
I'm about 6'6", 6'6", 6'5.5".
I'll give you 6'7". I've hung
I'll
out with
take
you
it.
in
I'll
person.
take it.
But this would be like you leaping over Ian Shefflin and Victor Locken. He was beating them for every 50-50 ball. He was tying them up for why am I blanking on that? Hell ball.
Oh,
I'm
God,
sorry.
Joey,
I'm like,
I'm
why
sorry.
am I?
You got rage on the mind. I know what it is. It's okay.
I'm like so frustrated and so indignant that like this team that just ran through my terrible league
Yeah,
just
that
got embarrassed by a team of by a team of guards and wings playing way bigger than they are. They were tying up Shefflin and locking for hell balls. They were like smacking the ball out of Shefflin's hands. Shefflin was so bad. That 1 point like does not communicate how bad he was. I mean,
he's such a good rebounder and so physical and like between him and Locke and this whole game was like this. They're just standing there, just looking, like the letting the ball drop. And I'm like, I have watched a really good amount of Clemson basketball this year. And honestly, hand up on this one, I picked Clemson in this game because one of the main reasons I picked it, I was like, that McNeese team, that's not gonna work when Shefflin and Locken are locking down the offensive boards, no pun intended, or the defensive glass.
mhm.
Couldn't be further from the case in this game. They got dominated on the boards. Honestly, I'm surprised it was as close as 43-36. It felt worse than that.
Yeah, I agree. And you know how like we make jokes how when it's like I'm talking about UNC or something, it's like, oh, Cade Tyson, one big rebound in this game or
Mhm.
whatever. Or like Elliot Cadeau, six big assists, man. Like they're bigger than what the box score shows. Ian Shefflin only had two turnovers, but they were like seriously two big turnovers in the sense that like you could have told me he had five and I would have believed you. It didn't matter who was frustrating them from that matchup zone that McNeese was playing. Their hands were so active. And I mean, Quadir Copeland, he kind of did this in the ACC last year. I was surprised he went down to McNeese. He was someone who was like a triple double threat playing in the ACC, to where maybe it shouldn't be that surprising, but like he was punking Shefflin. All these dudes were just like, yeah, it was really cute that y'all dominated the offensive boards in a mid-major league. Uh, that's not going to fly against us because we all believe we're high major players anyway.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Sweeney. I thought he tweeted this, and it summed it up pretty well. You watched this game, and McNeese had the better athletes. McNeese was better coached in this game. McNeese had a vision in this game, and
Mhm.
uh, I'm gonna speak on behalf of you, Riley, as an ACC fan. I am begging Texas to swoop in right now. Do not let this man go to NC State because I think if he goes to NC State, then we're gonna get that nostalgic hoop state feel back. I'm talking CJ Leslie, Lorenzo Brown, and the boys back at NC State. It might get spooky.
That CJ Leslie team still like split with Carolina that year, which was supposed to be their best year
So
in
did
NCAA.
everybody.
40-7 against our in our last 47 matchups against NC State.
I'm
That's
so mad you know that off the top of your head.
40-7, dude. Like that's very lopsided.
All right,
Uh,
back to Clemson.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, I love Will Wade. I think Will Wade's dope. I think he's the best hire that NC State could make. I also think as we talk about him, whatever you want to say about aura, motion, any fun buzzword that he's bringing to Raleigh does not factor in the fact that like God only lets a good thing happen to NC State once every 40 years, and they used the goodwill last year, going to the Final Four and going to Omaha in baseball. So like it's probably going to be like 20 years of famine. But yeah, at the same time, that being said, like Will Wade and Raleigh does scare me a little bit, and I need Texas to help me out here.
Yeah.
Make them hire Justin Gainey. But yeah, like anyway, this yeah. It was kind of Will Wade ball, you know. I mean, how many turn they only forced Clemson into why does it feel like Clemson had 20 you could like 22 turnovers?
Well,
They had
honestly, it
13.
was it was they felt like turnovers, but it was just bad shots from Clemson.
Hmm.
And just
Hmm.
like Clemson at times looked visibly shaken on that first half. I was watching, I was like, I was so disgusted that I looked over to my wife, who I know like couldn't give me any feedback at the time, but I was just like, "Are you like seeing this all this?" And she actually looked at me and she's like, "Yeah, like what are they doing?" That's how you know it's bad.
Hmm.
I was like, "What is going on here? Like, are you gonna like do something, run something, like, or honestly, not even run something?" I know I'm giving Brownell a lot of crap here, but like at the same time. I'm looking at Chase Hunter. Like
Hmm.
his stat line. He ended up having 21 points. Anyone who watched this game, he was non-existent for 35 minutes of this basketball game, and he showed up for the last five when it was really out of reach at that point. And
Hmm.
Ian Shefflin, like we mentioned, was nowhere to be seen. And Chauncey Wiggins wasn't that great in this game. And it was just, I mean, credit to McNeese. Like guys stepped up. Brandon Murray, who I mean,
It was open.
I forgot he was still in college, to be honest with you. I haven't tapped into much McNeese, but Brandon Murray, what, former Georgetown and former LSU player? Is that what it was?
Why can okay, yes. I was wondering. I was like, where am I hearing this? Where have I knew he was at dang, this is his fourth school. Played at LSU. He was really good at LSU his freshman year.
Yeah, he played at Georgetown too, right?
Uh-huh. And then Ole Miss last year.
Oh, he's at Ole Miss too. Wow, I forgot that. Okay.
It was his season high in points. He had 4 points in their Southland championship game against Lamar. So I feel like we're vindicated in being like, oh yeah, I forgot Brandon Murray
Yeah,
exists.
I mean, but look, good on that team. Kadir Copeland was really good in the game. Sincere Parker had some big threes. Christian Shoemate, so impressive given like he was at a size disadvantage, but he played taller and bigger than anybody else on the
Yeah.
court.
Freaking
And
nasty.
look, McNeese vindicated themselves. I think Greg mentioned like the year after kind of having that letdown last season against Gonzaga, they come out here and they pick up a win over, with all due respect, a good Clemson team. Like I really like this Clemson team this year. I did. And I know the ACC jokes are out and things like that, but I really like the makeup of this team and how they operated. They no showed and played bad in this one, and sometimes
Mhm.
I guess that's just basketball. But you got to give credit to Will Wade and the boys. They figured it out, even though they tried their hardest to like monumentally collapse late. What was that?
Yeah. Again, it didn't feel like it was gonna happen. I thought McNeese did enough that it was like a little too little too, excuse me, too little too late in the words of JoJo in 2009. I will say our friend Mark, you met Mark at the Final Four last year. NC State grad texted me and said 21-point lead gone in 7 minutes. He's perfect for NC State, which I was dying seeing that. But yeah, it's tough for me to put too much stock into that. I feel like McNeese, I mean, they can't let their foot off the gas against Purdue. You don't want to do that 2 games in a row. Um, I'm thinking like I think Clemson's a better team than Purdue, though. I'm sorry for the Purdue fans out there. So maybe you can. Maybe you just repeat the same formula on the Boilermakers and like you don't care if you get a little sloppy down the stretch. But I mean, it did feel like Clemson was hitting pretty much everything they threw up. Even going to Chase Hunter, like he had 0 points in the first half, scored all 21 in the second, and like you said, it was within felt like it was within 5 minutes. So I don't know. I don't put a ton of stock into that. Even watching it unfold, I didn't necessarily feel like Clemson was do anything markedly better other than making their shots and not like crapping their pants every time they saw a matchup zone or that like didn't feel like McNeese was forcing anything bad. It just seemed like I mean Clemson's shot 37% as a team all season. It makes sense that they start going in at some point. But again, it's just the game was decided at that point.
Yeah, and look, Clemson. That's a sad way to go out. With all due respect, no really better way to put it. Otherwise, of going out sad. But you got to give all credit to McNeese, and it's. I will say the one thing as a college basketball fan, it's good to see like the buzzwords actually match up with the team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
or this team has motion. This team's got all this. All you know what I'm saying? Like they're different. They all this. All the things that come along with like March Madness, like superlatives, I guess, and buzzwords. This is a very confident basketball team, and they play like they're doubted, and that's a dangerous basketball team when they step on the floor. And one, they know that they played at like a lot of these guys have played at high major levels. Like they probably have that chip on their shoulder, and Will
Mhm.
Wade probably drills that into them that you guys were at that point one time, and they maybe they thought you weren't good enough or something like that. I don't know. Will Wade's probably a has all types of tactics he used to get his team going, but. Anything else before we get out of here, Riley? That you want to say about McNeese or Clemson?
Enjoy the extension, Brownell. Don't get too fat and happy. You gotta. Just be better next time. We thought you finally got over the hump. I thought there was a chance this team could like I wouldn't say Final Four because they're in Houston's region, aren't they? Or am I mixing my regions up?
Yes, they are in Houston's
Yeah, they're
region.
Houston's. I think Houston's probably going to roll through everybody. But Elite Eight's not out of the question. Like I was really high on this team, and I thought the defense and rebounding formula with a guard who can take over was a recipe for success. We see that work all the time and yield deep March runs, and to just bow out this unceremoniously just like, what are you doing? But
Yeah.
congrats to McNeese. Keep
Thank
enjoying the ride, Will.
you. Yeah, well, excited to see where McNeese's journey goes. Clemson, Ronell, congrats on the extension. I feel like this whole team is graduating now, so good luck with that. Figure that out. Hopefully you do some good things, but we'll have the McNeese and the Purdue preview up on the channel, as well as previews and recaps for every March Madness game, all the way up until the Final Four, the championship game, all that. Here on Sleepers Media YouTube channel, we have y'all covered. Be sure to tap in, like, subscribe, comment, be mean, be nice, do whatever you want. Just make sure you're there. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.